won't be easy to make a sequel to a game acclaimed for revolutionizing the entire horror genre. There will, of course, be a lot of hype and lots of expectations, and to some players, the end result may feel like a vastly different experience altogether. As for myself, this horror game sequel did turn out to be a little bit different from what I expected. However, the different direction of horror and setting, coupled with hype and fear of the unknown, did ensure that I had a bone-chilling adventure, and you can bet there were a couple of moments that feel completely vivid and fresh in the mind even to this day, more than 10 years later. This is an unforgettable memory, one of many episodes that pay tribute to a game once journeyed through, bringing back to life the most memorable moment. Players and viewers alike experience horror differently, so I would love to read your comments and thoughts about this horror game, not least what got to you the most. But first, let's rewind back even further to when the game was only just announced. It did not take long for the next installment of the Amnesia universe, titled A Machine for Pigs, to harvest a lot of interest and hype. I remember going to the Frictional Games message board to read and speculate with other horror fans regarding plot and setting for the upcoming game. Through multiple delays during development, we were teased with official art and occasionally even short teaser clips. One of the pictures posted showed a cellar containing a large machine to emphasize the new theme. I remember taking note of one of the walls looking strikingly familiar, making me wonder, would the game feature Castle Brennenburg's somehow salvaged wine cellar from the first game, The Dark Descent? This small detail and trail of speculation excited me. But as it turns out, this was just concept art which merely borrowed inspiration from the first game for the background, with no further significance. Ha, fair enough. On the 15th of June 2012, Frictional Games dropped an exciting teaser which gives me goosebumps every time I see it. The video hastily cycles through abandoned places while tense music makes for a pressurized atmosphere before it cuts to the darkness, where the protagonist hides, fearing for his life. A horrifying track starts to play in the background while a large, squealing beast violently tears down a wooden door with quick, irregular blows before entry, becoming one with the darkness with heavy, staggering steps. After I discovered the horror genre and fully embraced it, I barely have any nightmares anymore. With those few I do have, feel more manageable, and I am grateful for that. In my excitement and anticipation of A Machine for Pigs, I do remember having 2 intensive nightmares, and I think the teaser contributed as inspiration. They will sound silly, but I can assure you, those were absolutely petrifying as I went through them. The first nightmare was me being in an office which looked eerily similar to the first glimpse shown in the teaser. No stairs, just doors. It was as empty and devoid of life as in the clip, and the complete silence was deeply unsettling. I could sense that something really bad was about to happen, as if an evil being was looking for me, and my instinct was to hide in a dark closet-like compartment built into the wall. After hiding for what felt like an eternity and hearing absolutely nothing, I opened the closet door, and directly outside stood a large, deformed pig's head resting on mechanical-looking spider-like legs, standing completely still, completely silent, facing my direction. After freezing up for a couple of seconds, I blacked out, assuming I was killed at the blink of an eye, and then I woke up covered in cold sweat. The second nightmare was not as intense, but it still carried a similar feeling of helplessness and impending doom. I was among 100 people who were to be released from a large factory or warehouse to follow a set path to potential freedom, and shortly after our escape, a large pig-like beast was to be set free and chase us down and slaughter us. I remember noticing how I had slowed down, with more people running past me, and me realizing I might be next in line if I don't hurry up. The dream ended before anything bad happened to me or before I even noticed the beast at all. But as with great horror content, it's often the tension and anticipation which gets to us the most. The nightmares can be really intense. At the same time, it was really cool to see just how much the anticipation and excitement of the upcoming game had gotten to me, making me feel really alive. I'm fairly certain that this one teaser is what shaped my expectations for A Machine for Pigs the most. It clearly demonstrated moments similar to those in the first game, intensified with a highly aggressive unknown beast with its irregular blows and steps, along with the protagonist's whimpers drowning in the eerie background score. Yet, nothing like this would exist in the finished product, initially making me a little disappointed. Another thing, which was detrimental to my experience, was the sheer number of items in the game which were non-interactable. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not the sort of player that feels he has to pick up any number of items only to vigorously throw them across the room, creating a mess rivaling the runic fate of Castle Brennenburg. I did, however, feel more immersed in the first game's world, where I knew interaction was always an option. If I could interact with an item in A Machine for Pigs, I was almost certain that it was part of solving a puzzle up ahead due to that fact alone. This was not that big of a deal, but little things do add up. All that said, I sincerely do think this game gets a lot of undeserved hate, with some being so bold as to state that A Machine for Pigs not being worthy of being an Amnesia title. This is where I disagree, for despite it not being what I initially had expected, I definitely had a blast venturing through it, and looking back, I really do think that it's a fantastic sequel. I do wish more of the text, which by the way there was a lot of, was narrated, like it was in The Dark Descent, but the setting was adventurous, featuring a phenomenal capturing soundtrack by Jessica Curry, immersing me with both beautiful and haunting musical scores. The game dipped into a direction of horror, staring a bit more into grotesque rather than mere sheer terror. But once again, I digress, as I am pouring out my thoughts and impressions here. Jesus, I intended for this to be a much shorter episode. We have a memory to pick, namely, what sticks out the most in our journey. Can you guess what scared me the most? My most memorable moment, which refuses to fade, occurred in a dark cellar relatively early in the game. Machinery had been sabotaged, and in order to progress, fuses had to be replaced. As I was nearly done with this crucial task, a deep rumble from below suddenly started building up, as if the ground itself came to life with a cramp. It settles for a split second, before firing up once more and this time erupting into a deafening mechanical failure, sending a powerful quake through the cellar.
Whoa! Oh, wow.
The deafening phenomenon and sudden shock incapacitated me. While I was mentally counting my limbs and trying to piece together what had just happened, I heard a loud beastly squeal from below, coupled with the most dreadful ambience, similar to what can be heard in the second half of the teaser clip. I froze up in the darkness and fixated on a lamp hanging from the ceiling, flailing violently around, telling me that the severity of the mechanical mishap was not just my imagination. The environment felt it too, pretty bad. And followed by a loud squeal. I was not at all certain what to make of it at the time, whether or not the aggressive sounding beast from below had done something to the machinery to cause it to break, or perhaps even more important, was it coming from me next? Where was it even? Is it up here now with me? I never did encounter what was lurking about in the cellar, at least not from what I remember in my original playthrough, but this may only have contributed in making the moment more eerie and unforgettable. And while there are a number of moments in this game that really got to me, for instance, when I mistakenly believe a beast is leaping at me from above, the incident in the cellar remains the most burned-in impression I have of this game. Now that I give it some more thought, the beast was possibly not one with any ill intentions at all, rather being just as startled as myself by machinery deeper down trying to awake to life, regardless of my current project at the time. Maybe it was just as scared as I. My first impression playthrough of A Machine for Pigs is very, very old, from more than 12 years ago at the time of posting this episode. The old series featuring a poor quality microphone and me struggling with the English language even more so than now. But should you be interested, I will provide a link to it in the video description. This was originally 2 live streams, aired on the old Livestream Procaster system, and afterwards chopped up into a more digestible Let's Play format here on YouTube. And so, this would become my first Let's Play series. So in a way, A Machine for Pigs marks the start of this channel's immersive horror journey. So there you have it, my strongest memory from this sequel, along with my chaotic thought process at the time. What are your thoughts on that eerie moment? Furthermore, what scared you the most in your journey through A Machine for Pigs? I am eager to read your very own thoughts, so do share them here with me and others. We may dip out of the world of horror and return back to the safe, real world for now. That is, as long as you do not experience any flickering lights or powerful machinery struggling to breathe. Try not to worry. It's probably nothing, right? Sleep tight.